Drop that super thanks and let's hit the gong, gang! Welcome to Strangeville. Welcome to the channel piece. My name is K to the Strange. Joined today by my good buddy Andrew to the how do you spell your last name? Varble.
You got it right.
Hey, all right. Welcome to the channel again.
Thanks, man.
We've had some good some good views on the episodes we did together.
Yeah.
But we're missing the key ingredient, I think, tonight. We don't have the whiskey.
Uh-oh.
This is a sober. This is a CM Punk approved episode here today. You have brought over the biggest goddamn phone book of Swamp Thing comics I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. It's kind of my specialty, you know.
You're a big Swamp Thing fan, eh?
I am, and a big omnibus fan too. I like big collections.
I've got the Alan Moore little collection here, so I'm mostly familiar with this. This is where in continuity year wise. So when does this start and then this comes in at the Alan Moore run comes in after this entire phone book?
Correct.
And so what are the years on the phone book?
So on the phone book here, the original issue, the House of M, was from 1971. And then it was about a year later, 1972, is when they pick up the first Swamp Thing run. And that runs through 76, I believe. And then 82 was when they start the saga of the Swamp Thing. And so this collection here has the first 19 issues of saga of the Swamp Thing. And then Alan Moore picks up with issue 20. So
It looks like 83 is when this one.
probably, yeah.
So this is 71 through, and this is 83 through however long, 84, 85. So this is a fuck ton of Swamp Thing. First of all, I guess, tell us why you like Swamp Thing so much. What is it about the Swamp Thing character and the story that you enjoy enough? Because you don't just have this, you got all kinds of shit. You got another omnibus at home, right?
I do, yeah.
Plus some more stuff we're going to look at in future videos here we're going to record tonight. So what is it about Swamp Thing that gets you going?
I really like the fact that he's peaceful to a point. It's kind of the same way that I liked Hulk whenever I was a kid, because, you know, David or Bruce Banner, whichever way you're looking at it, is, you know, kind of calm, and, you know, when he gets angry, that's when the Hulk comes out. But Swamp Thing really remains peaceful almost to a breaking point, and then there's just times when, you know, things got to get done, and the only way we're going to do it is by smashing some stuff up.
Monsters got to get fought.
Yeah.
That's what I like about Swamp Thing is I like Swamp Thing for the same reason that I like Hellboy and books like that, where it's like when the hero and the Hulk, when the hero's the monster and the monster fights bad guy monsters, so you basically just get monster wall-to-wall monsters,
right?
And you don't have to worry about boring stupid people.
Yeah, most of the time.
That's how I like my my stuff. So and then as far as
that original issue would just part of three different stories in one issue, and it was kind of like the old Tales from the Crypt kind of things. It was the House of Secrets, so it had just a little segment there.
We'll read that first whole thing in its entirety, but I'm just kind of flipping right now while you're talking.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
And
this is where the Lin Wayne Bernie Wrightson kicks in there. This is, I think, a year after House of Secrets is when they start their run. So then he goes through. Wrightson does 10 issues. Lin Wayne goes through, I think, 15 before he drops out. But then this whole first series goes 24 issues, and then famously gets canceled at the end. There's a little cliffhanger ending we'll point out whenever we get there.
Oh, wow.
They call out like a big DC cameo coming up for issue 25 that never actually came to fruition.
Oh, that sucks.
And the brand was dead for like 6 years before they brought it back.
So I believe if I've got my comics history right, which I often don't, Bernie Wrightson was one of the EC Comics dudes, and that's this has that like Tales from the Crypt style to it. They were still doing they were still in that horror style or true crime style that was very popular before the Comics Code, and then this is a transition into the post Comics Code style of superhero storytelling, but they were able with Swamp Thing to keep that kind of horror vibe,
a little bit of an edge to it, yeah.
And but still be in they were still what do you call that, in compliance with the Comics Code. But that's this early stuff is really, because a lot of early, like I guess you call it Bronze Age, because this is Bronze Age
Correct, yep.
Swamp Thing. A lot of Bronze Age Marvel and DC. I just don't like the look of that. I know that's blasphemy because that's like Jack Kirby, right? Or is that pre-Jack Kirby?
No, that's into his, yeah.
I just don't. I'm not drawn or compelled to that style of. And I know he influenced. I know Jack Kirby influenced everybody, and everybody's style. There wouldn't be a Simon Bisley. There wouldn't be a Frank Miller without the building blocks being Jack Kirby's style. Mm-hmm. But I like those guys. I like the 80s guys. I like the guys that took his style and went crazy with it.
Yeah, he's just like a foundation to build off of.
Had an eye for, more of an eye for dramatic composition. And again, that's, people are going to be like, "Are you kidding me? You don't think Jack Kirby has dramatic composition? Look at this, and Jack Kirby is a great, like, because I follow a couple of Jack Kirby like Facebook pages, and they post some outrageous, amazing Jack Kirby looking art. But I feel like that wasn't like every issue of Fantastic Four. That was like a lot of that was like dashed out and rushed, and there's not a lot of dynamic composition to the Bronze Age. It was just like, it feels like dashed out and hurried to me. And I know that's blasphemy. I know people that live and die in the Bronze Age and they don't even like anything Silver Age and on. Yeah. And I get that, and that's fine. It's like in the I like the Toho Godzilla movies from the 90s and early 2000s. Mm-hmm. Godzilla 2000, Gamera, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, all that stuff I think is great. I'm not a huge fan of the 50s stuff, because the compositions, they would shoot it flat, and they would shoot it from these like mid-range flat angles that really highlighted the fact that it was guys in rubber monster suits beating each other up on fake sets. Whereas the 90s Toho stuff really used cinematography to their advantage. And I feel the same way about Silver and modern age Marvel and DC got the dramatic compositions better. But having said all that, going back and looking at these Bronze Age Swamp Things with Bernie Wrightson, they, like, EC Comics had it fucking down.
Oh yeah.
They knew how to make the greatest. They knew how to use the lighting, the color.
The color patterns really stand out for me.
But also the compositions and the camera angles and things that they use. I mean, these guys are fucking. These guys are great. Looking at this, this is 1971 era. This is fucking 10 years before I was even born, and you've already got these great. I mean, this is gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Gorgeous storytelling. Look at this. Gorgeous visual storytelling here. Love watching Swamp Thing fight monsters. Let's get into some stuff that you want to highlight here, because we obviously can't sit and look at however long. What, this is 10,000 fucking pages or something.
It's only 1,000.
1,000 pages. Okay. So let's see what you're. Right. So highlight. Show the viewers. Show the Strange Heads what you think are the best of the best stories in this omnibus.
All right. So, first up is going to be number 6, issue 6,
and that's
from the first run.
That's Wrightson.
This is still Wrightson. Yep.
Let's do it.
And this is a.
Let's put like.
All right. Yes. There we go.
Yeah. Oops.
So yeah. This is a really cool, with like a clockwork demon.
That's a clockwork demon? Mm-hmm. Look at him, gang. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the Clockwork Horror is the name of the...
I love it.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite ones from the initial one. It's got a bit of a slow build, so we're kind of skipped ahead here. So he comes...
Look at this.
Yeah, meeting a Swiss clockmaker.
And I don't know if I can do a Swiss accent. What is this? What do the Swiss sound like?
Well, they're neutral, so I guess...
the Swiss chef, right? The Swedish chef from...
well, that's Sweden.
which is different from Switzerland.
Correct, yeah.
But how different?
Uh,
Very different.
Probably.
Do they speak like this? Is this a Swiss accent? I don't think it is.
I don't think so either, but we can use it.
I guess we can use it. But as usual, I forgot to mind the manners. I talk and I talk and I don't even introduce myself. I am Hans. He's German. He's speaking. He's got a German accent.
Okay.
He's Hans.
Well, I mean, that's right there next to Switzerland. So.
He said, oh, I guess, well, maybe they sound German.
That could be.
Nein. But as usual, I forgot to mind manners. I talk and I do not even introduce myself. I am Hans Klockman. Of course, because of course he's Klockman.
Yeah.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Hans Klockman, carpenter, watchmaker, and lately mayor of Burgesstown, at your most willing service. Okay, so they meet this Swiss.
Yeah. So he's got a little mayoral speech and huge.
Is that the Swiss Alps?
I believe so. Yeah. And then we get into some weirdness here. They're starting to figure out some things. Turns out this buddy's like a Satanist.
Oh, jeez.
So you know how that goes.
Well, yeah.
And he's got these demons that he's been summoning into these clockwork creatures.
Oh, jeez.
And I just love the design of that.
Who's the Satanist? Our boy?
Yeah, the clockman.
Oh, Mr. Klockman? Heinz Klockman is a Satanist? Oh, you love of the Satan. Why am I back to the Swedish accent? Just look at this.
Yeah, cool fight between them.
What does he say? Now just sit there quietly until we are ready to leave, and my mighty hydraulic arm will not be put to use again. I mean, he's a demon, but I assume he's also
Yeah,
Swiss.
I mean, you would go after your creator.
He's
Yeah.
a Swiss demon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a really cool fight, though. Robots versus monsters, got to be cool.
Absolutely, and it's all Bernie Wrightson coolness. I mean, again, these compositions are so dynamic. He just knows exactly how to make this stuff look
And then
super cool.
classic Frankenstein creator, tries to stop the monster at the end from hurting
What does he
people.
say? No, I beg of you, do not do this thing. There has been enough violence here today. I do not make a mockery of all that I have lived. Oh!
No, Clockman stepped into the line of fire before I could move. They've killed him.
I mean, you can't. Seriously, you can't stress enough that this coloring. They've got everybody in the background is this neutral kind of light purple color to set them way back,
And a silhouette, yeah.
And the boldness of the blue on this clockwork demon is just.
And then the popping of the red
great.
eyes. And
Yes,
then, yeah.
just fantastic.
And then he smashes through the clock tower.
Jeez. Does he grow to a giant size to do that? Or is it a small clock?
Well, I'm guessing he must have, yeah. Because it was holding over the
Yeah,
town
where
whenever
is it?
he gave the speech as the mayor.
Back to that. That's the thing with Swamp Thing. He can. Is that the clock tower? No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it that? Yeah. So he had to have grown giant size. He's probably saying it in the dialogue. Actually, that's usually what they do. They usually explain it through. Poor Clockman. In the end, his new race of men was not so terribly different from the old. What a shame. Come on, Mutt. There are things we have to do before the time runs out for us.
And then this also leads into another great issue.
Oh, going to hang out with Batman?
Mm-hmm.
I think I have that. I think I have Swamp Thing versus Batman.
Oh, nice.
I think I might have this issue. I think it might be right down here. Go ahead and
Yeah.
if you were you wanting to highlight that one too?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and start talking about it. I'm gonna see
All
if I
right.
can find this issue.
So, yeah. I really like how Bernie does Gotham City here too. A lot of times you get like almost too much darkness, and he's got like the street lights and like you get some lighting into it too also.
Beautiful.
So I really like how he does the buildings of Gotham there. And then of course, cops, you see a monster, they shoot at him right away. And so So he's trying to hunt down Matt Cable, and he's got clues that he's ran off to Gotham, so that's why he's coming here. And all Batman's going to see is there's a monster loose, so I got to try to take it out. You know. And so we get some really cool dock fights here. And then this is where the actual bat signal comes in. So Matt has been taken in by the mob. So we get a little Falcone history here too. The warring families of Gotham. I kind of like the camouflage Swamp Thing here too. He's in like a trench coat and a fedora.
I love it.
You know, how are you going to hide that you're a monster? But
that reminds me of that episode of the Ninja Turtles, the first Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Where they send Casey Jones in to infiltrate some business, and so he goes in with a business suit on, but he still has the hockey mask and his golf bag with weapons in it when he walks in.
You're not going to leave that behind.
I'm struggling to find this issue, but I think I have it. It might be in my other box.
It's pretty classic Batman here too. As you've said before in different mediums, it's all about how you do the cape.
Oh yeah.
And he does a pretty good cape here.
That's
Bernie does.
Yeah. Oh, look at that one up there. That's awesome. Yeah, he does a great Batman. I wonder if Bernie Wrightson did any work, because he's working for DC.
Yeah. He's
So
contracted with them for a while.
Quite a few years, right?
Yeah.
So he
at least a decade.
Most assuredly did at least some short runs on Batman.
I would think.
I don't recall if I've ever seen Bernie Wrightson's Batman, though. But again, I'm not a Bronze Age guy. So.
Right, yeah. And he's definitely of that era, for sure. Then again, good use of color palette as we're switching through the panels here.
I like this little side. He draws scientists really well. Real goofy.
And then here we finally get the epic showdown. Got no reason to try anything with him. So he's even a little hesitant to jump in there. Batman makes the first attack.
Look at that shot. I like these overhead. This is because this is like, let's see. This is like 3/4 view, but this is almost overhead. This is really hard to draw. But Bernie Wrightson can draw anything. Look at the cape here in this panel. Look at that. That's like that's drapery on the level of maybe even Todd McFarlane. I mean, I don't think there's anybody better at drapery than Todd, but Bernie Wrightson probably is a close second. Bernie Wrightson has this black and white book. I think it might just be called Frankenstein, but it's the story of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Oh, okay.
And my God, is it gorgeous. Ed and Jim looked through it on Cartoonist Kayfabe, and Jesus, it's just a gorgeous book. Hardcover, big, thick book. And I think that's all Bernie. I think he wrote it in and illustrated it.
Okay. He's got a Swamp Thing scaling the building.
That's a great shot.
Nice little push off the rooftop. Batman couldn't save him in time.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Next up is I always love my dinosaurs.
Oh, hell yeah.
So this is one
and
of
I think isn't that another one of Bernie Wrightson's, like, I think he's considered one of the best dinosaur dudes.
Oh, it could be.
So we always talk when you come on the show, we talk a little bit of process, and we talk about different dudes have different strengths, and they always like try to find a way to put their, if they're car guys, they try to gravitate towards drawing comic stories that involve a lot of cars.
Mm-hmm.
Bernie Wrightson
architecture,
Bernie Wrightson always seems to find his way back to dinosaurs.
Nice.
And I mean, look at him. He does a great job. I'm sure that's like a Ray Harryhausen influence.
Probably, yeah. A lot of people were for that. Because those movies were 50s and 60s mostly. See, I believe this is part of the time travel sequence. where the green starts sending him back to prehistoric ages. I don't think he ever really finds out why. It might have just been an accident.
Just
they
an
never
excuse
actually
for.
explain it.
Oh, is this still Bernie Wrightson though?
Oh, that's a good question.
It might not even be. I'm here. I'm talking up Bernie Wrightson. It is.
Yeah, it has changed.
Yeah. Oh, it's changed?
Yep. So this is Nestor.
Nestor? Okay. I'm sitting here talking up Bernie Wrightson about drawing dinosaurs. It's not even Bernie Wrightson.
Good call. Yeah, this is right after he left. So he did the first 10. And this is issue number 12. So yeah, Nestor Redondo takes over.
Oh, my friend. Didn't get out of the way in time. The Tyrannosaurus landed on him, impaling him with his own spear. It seems like all the violence that happens in Swamp Thing comics are because Swamp Thing just can't quite get there in time.
Yeah. So then he jumps into like Roman Colosseum days. He just a man displaced through time, or a monster.
Look at those fucking lions. It's awesome. This dude's got chops too. This artist, he's not bad. Seems to be kind of like staying with that EC Comics like pre-code style.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't changed much. I mean, I was thinking it was Bernie Wrightson.
Yeah.
It's not like it was. It wasn't such a drastic change that I was like,
knew
"Oh, that can't
yeah.
be Bernie."
And here he's made it back to his present, he thinks. But then he figures out he's in the Civil War era.
The artist gets this script dropped to his desk. He's like, "Are you fucking shitting me? I gotta draw Roman Colosseums. I gotta draw Civil War. I gotta draw dinosaurs.
Prehistoric, yeah.
That up angle is nice up angle here through like 3/4 view from the bottom."
Pretty cool. And then we will jump ahead here. This is actually the final issue, as I was wanting to point out. So at the end of issue 23, they actually figure out a way to get him back to human again. So then they did a little misdirection here for issue 24. They've got him on the cover as Swamp Thing.
Mm. Does this not even happen in the comic in this way?
No, so he's actually Alec Holland when he's fighting him in the comic.
Fight? Okay, They were like, we can't fucking sell Swamp Thing with a dude on the cover. Let's just make him Swamp Thing.
So they go back through like a recap of what happened and how he came back through. But then he wakes up and that was just all a dream.
Because you got to get at least a little bit of Swamp Thing.
Yeah, you do.
On the first couple pages.
Mm-hmm. And then,
even more. I mean,
flashbacks and statues.
Just find a way to find an excuse to keep him on screen as long as possible, and then you bring in your fucking
heavy
here, and now we're good because now we got a monster, so we can let Swamp Thing go, let the human
got some kind of power where he levitates things.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that a lot.
And he is Thrudvang the Earthmaster.
Of course he is. Thudvang. Is he jamming as well? Thudvang, the Earthmaster.
Yeah, so he's like, how would I have fought him if I was Swamp Thing? So that's when you get this. You get a panel of that, but then he's back to human.
I love it. Let me hallucinate myself as Swamp Thing for one panel just to make sure 3 or 4 pages don't go by without the big green machine on the
WWSTD. What would Swamp Thing do?
Swamp Thing do?
How are you gonna fight him as a normal human? You know. This is Thrudvang now. Look at that flying drop kick.
It's good. Good drop kick.
Then he ends up just cutting the rope bridge. Falls to his death.
Thudvang. Not a good ending for Thudbag.
And here's the big tease. Next issue, Hawkman versus Swamp Thing. And Portland, Oregon will never be the same. And then it just never happened.
And then it never happened. It got canceled. Huh? Okay. How long did it stay canceled for?
It was 6 years.
Wow.
I believe this was 76. And then it doesn't come back until 82.
Wow.
So this is where the saga of the Swamp Thing kicks in.
And then is it a reboot?
More or less, yeah. And the first few issues of this are pretty neat.
Who's on the...
Pasco is the writer for all of it until Moore takes over.
And then Tom Yeats is the artist for this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting style on him. Everybody has their own little, unique take on these characters. And it's always interesting to see what they...
So yeah, going back there again, the chemical blast fell into the swamp. Gets saved by the green. Turned into a protector.
He kind of almost has that Wes Craven movie style here. He's real smooth in that first movie.
Yeah. You said it's decent? Worth
Yeah.
watching, probably?
I mean, I like the second one better, but
Okay.
we can talk about that later when we get to
it.
the adaptation. Is this it here?
No, that's just an alternate cover for the issue.
Well,
yeah.
that's what he looks like.
Oh, that's the actual movie still. Let's skip ahead a bit. This is one of the big famous issues from the early run, The Man Who Would Not Die. So this is issue 18. So almost at the end of Pasco's run.
That's cool as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on back here. I'm interested in all this craziness. No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good.
We could spend all day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Look at this. This is awesome.
So he finally tracks down Matt Cable again. He keeps recurring through the early runs. Any fans of the Sandman series from Neil Gaiman? Matthew is the Raven in the underworld.
Okay.
If you're familiar with that at all.
So this is Steve Bissette, Bernie Wrightson, and then Pasco and Lynn Wine are the
Writers.
writers. Okay. So Bissette's a bad motherfucker too. So is this? It just says art. It doesn't give a delineation of who's doing the pencils and who's doing
inks.
the inks.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
You're familiar with Bissette, though?
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I like how we're starting to get some depth into his face now, too.
Yeah, well, now you're dealing with... Again, Steve Bissette and then Bernie Wrightson back on duty, so you're going to get this, because what we were looking at before was real, smooth. Lots of texture when you're dealing with these guys. Great texture there.
And you get a lot of the roots, coming through his whole body, which was always one of my favorite looks, too.
Oh, jeez, look at that.
Yeah.
This is gorgeous art. Look at this guy's face. Look at all these lines. All the noodling going on. What is this guy? That's cool.
Yeah. He's like a tree demon, I think.
Goddamn tree demons. Pesky tree demons.
And silhouette hashing there, too. That's cool. There you go.
God.
There's your monster for you.
Damn, that thing's cool. Steve Bissette on pencils with John Totalbin on the inks. Lynn Wine is now the editor. Wow. So I mean that's That's the Steve Bissette of it all. Like I said, he's got game. He's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Look at that shit. Yeah, no wonder you like Swamp Thing. This is cool as shit.
Yeah, it was really fun. So I first started getting into them right around 02 or 03, and then went back and picked up some of these older things and was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool.
It's fighting giant wasps now. What does he say here? Wait! That humanoid wasp must have tagged me with its stinger. The venom is so powerful, my legs. I can't move. My paralyzed. He loses first his footing, and then his consciousness. Look at all this fucking. You can really see the Sam Keith. Like if you think about Sam Keith, the influence of Bissette and Wrightson is just very apparent here. When we look at a lot of Sam Keith on the channel, and you can just see where Sam Keith got all his Sam Keithiness from.
Trapped in a web. And cool use of color there.
Yeah, I mean, this is just crazy out there monster comics. I mean, is there anything cooler? Shove his woman through a portal and then get to work. Start beating on nasties. Jeez Louise. Look at all these little creepies. Amazing. Nice silhouette work with our Swamp Thing and his woman. What does he say here?
Yes, of course you must. And after we check on him, it's Matt, I'd better find Dennis and Liz. Poor Matt, he's been through so much. I hate to ask him to come with me to Washington to confront Sunderland. And I've got to. Now that Cryptman is dead. Cryptman, that's so cool too. There's no one else on my side who knows them the way that Matt does. It'll be very risky, though, especially with that uncontrollable power of whatever it is, and if somehow Arcane has survived the way he always seems to have done before. Abby, go on ahead. Something I have to do. You gonna do an Abby?
All right, Alec. I'll see you back at the cabin.
Before I do anything else, I've got to know if we'll really be safe from Arcane this time. I've got to be sure he's finally dead. I've got to see the body.
And then, is this Arcane here?
Mm-hmm. And that's where Alan Moore kicks in with his issues. And this is the last one that I highlighted here. This is the 64-page adaptation of the movie.
I think we should save that for its own episode.
Okay.
I think we should end it here, and because there's a lot to talk about. We can talk about the movies and
Sure.
and all that stuff, and we can go through and maybe read the whole. We were going to read the first. The whole first issue, but we ended up gliding past it.
Well,
Before we get any further in here, we got to thank our patrons before we get out of here, don't we?
we do.
Link in the description. You can become a patron of The Strange for only $3 a month. You gain access to 20 years of comics, novels, and feature films from the twisted mind of me, Kevin Strange. And if you like weird monster shit like Swamp Thing, you'd be into my stuff, like Kevin Strange's Space Worms, Count Kefula, a.k.a. Dracula in Strangeville, my newest comic up there on the Patreon now. Death to Strangeville, Wizard of Ganj, Too Many Dabs, and many more comics, novels, and feature films. Gets you $3 gets you access, and you also get shout outs here on every video we do. So let's do our shouts real quick. I'll let you start.
The Savage Blender.
Dark Lord Carrion.
666 Yoshi.
Alien on LSD.
Joseph Stark.
Loud Pack Productions.
Dave Baxter.
Jason German.
Mutant Minds.
Joshua Wise.
Jeremy Maddox.
Nirvana.
Andrew Varbo.
That's you.
Oh, okay.
Darren Oni.
And Raz.
Raz is how I pronounce it. So
All
thank
right.
you to all of our patrons. If you want to see your name up in the big lights, hit that link in the description. Get access to all our awesome comics and movies. Andrew's in most of my movies. Is in some of the comics as well. Yeah, explore all of that. It's a lot of content for only $3 a month there, and we are just over 50 subscribers away from hitting that that precious 1,000 subscriber mark, where we can fully monetize the channel. We become a big boy channel.
Ooh.
We break out of small channel hell, and as a and it looks like we're going to hit that before Christmas or around Christmas. And so as an early Christmas present, I'm going to be giving away my graphic novel, Kevin Strange's Space Worms, 164 full color pages of weird underground comics nastiness. That will be up for free download on the Patreon. So you won't have to be a patron to access it, but it will be on the Patreon, and yeah, that'll be free for an entire month. So once we hit that 1,000 subscribers, Space Worms will be free for a month. So
I'm excited for that myself. I'd kind of like to have a digital copy.
Well, there you go. If you have a bunch of Swamp Things, if you have a giant Swamp Thing omnibus, you can, and you don't want it anymore, and you want to send it my way, you can send it to Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois 62018. Or if you are a comics creator yourself and you like to noodle all over pages with ink like Bernie Wrightson does and Steve Bissette does, you can send your comics my way to Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois 62018, just like Paul Porkjohn did with his little mini comic here, Junked, with you see our little strip club patron here slobbering all over his money, and our strippers that have clown faces for boobies. That's just how we roll here in Paul Porkjohn Comics. We like Paul, and we are grateful that he sent his book through here, Junked. Look at you, you beautiful bastard, reading this ashcan edition of Junked. I can assure you now, this amazing new underground alt comics is better than any of that other literature you have lying around the house. The brilliant, strong, and impressive men over at the Junkyard have crafted this mighty tome out of the muscle and blood as a well-deserved distraction from your difficult and unrelenting life. You owe it to the men of Junked to take all your other comics outside and burn them. The Junk crew are Dylan Hetty, Daniel Hughes, Paul Courtjohn, and Leslie Whitlock. This issue was edited together by Dan, and even though he realizes before finalizing it he had forgotten to include a table of contents, and he did not care enough to add one. Any queries and complaints can be sent to us on the internet. You'll figure out how to find us, and always remember, if you're not reading Junked, then you're not reading Junked.
That's a good
that's a great slogan. So we appreciate Paul for sending his book our way. You can find him over on Instagram, and you can pick up if you like what you see here. You can pick up your own copy of Junked.
nice.
Very cool stuff. So we're gonna get out of here. Hope you enjoyed our look at Bronze Age Swamp Thing, and remember, gang, to stay strange.